there is a quiet question that follows many people home at night. It doesn't shout, it whispers. Why am I still alone? Not alone in the sense of empty rooms or silent phones. You may tell yourself you like your freedom, but alone in a deeper way, emotionally unchosen, unseen, untouched. You may say relationships are overrated. You may even feel proud of standing on your own. And yet, if you're honest, something inside you pauses when you see couples holding hands, or when another friend announces they've found someone. Not jealousy. Something heavier. Tonight, we're not asking why you're single. We're asking what part of you learned to stay that way. Context/problem setup. In-depth psychology, staying single for long periods is rarely about luck, timing, or standards. Those are surface explanations. Beneath them live emotional patterns, learned early, reinforced silently, protected fiercely. Many people who stay single are not incapable of love. They are highly sensitive to emotional threat. At some point in your life, closeness became unsafe. Maybe love felt unpredictable. Maybe affection came with control. Maybe vulnerability led to shame, abandonment, or betrayal. So the psyche adapted. And adaptation, while intelligent, is not the same as healing. Carl Jung believed the psyche organizes itself around survival first, intimacy second. If love once hurt, the unconscious mind builds distance, not as punishment, but as protection. This is how independence becomes armor. How high standards become walls. How I don't need anyone becomes a quiet vow. Conflict/turning point. Here's the contradiction that defines many chronically single people. You crave intimacy, but you distrust it. You want depth, but you avoid exposure. So relationships either never begin. You long to be chosen, but you rarely allow yourself to be fully seen. Or they collapse at the exact moment they start to matter. You may feel bored with emotionally available people, attracted to unavailable ones, or suddenly overwhelmed when someone gets too close. This isn't confusion. It's an inner conflict between two archetypal forces, the inner child and the inner guardian. One wants connection. The other wants safety. And safety often wins. Core lessons, principles. 1. The lone wolf archetype. Many people who stay single live through the lone wolf archetype. The lone wolf is strong, self-sufficient, and observant. They learned early that relying on others was risky. So they became competent, independent, emotionally contained. But the shadow of the lone wolf is isolation. They don't ask for help. They don't express need. They don't reveal weakness. A woman once said, "I don't need anyone, and that's the problem. No one feels needed by me." When no one feels needed, no one feels invited. 2. The anima and animus wound. Jung believed we carry an inner image of the opposite energy, the anima or animus. This inner image shapes who we're attracted to. If your early experiences with the opposite energy were painful, chaotic, or disappointing, your inner image becomes distorted. You may unconsciously associate love with anxiety, closeness with loss of control, commitment with emotional danger. So your psyche does something clever. It chooses solitude over repetition of pain. Staying single becomes a way to avoid reenacting an old wound. Not because you don't want love, but because your unconscious doesn't trust it. 3. Emotional self-sufficiency as a defense. Many single people pride themselves on being emotionally complete. But often, this completeness was forged out of necessity, not choice. You learned to soothe yourself because no one else did. You learned not to ask because asking led nowhere. You learned not to hope too much. So when someone offers care, it feels unfamiliar, even intrusive. A man once said, "When someone loves me, I feel like I'm being watched." That's not fear of love. That's fear of dependence. 4. The fear of being known. Staying single protects you from one terrifying possibility: being fully known and still rejected. In solitude, you control the narrative. You are never misunderstood because no one is close enough to misunderstand you. But intimacy requires something radical. Letting someone see your contradictions, your softness, your anger, your longing. Many people stay single not because they can't find someone, but because they fear what will be revealed if someone truly looks. 5. The unlived relationship. Jung spoke of the unlived life, the parts of us we postpone out of fear. For many single people, the unlived life is relational. They imagine love deeply. They feel it intensely. They analyze it endlessly. But they rarely step fully into it. Fantasy replaces experience. Potential replaces risk. And time quietly passes. Integration/application. So what do you do with this insight? You don't force yourself into a relationship. You don't shame yourself for being single. You listen. Ask yourself gently, when did closeness stop feeling safe? What do I believe love will cost me? Who do I become when someone gets close? And why? Start by letting yourself need, just a little. Expressing preference. Admitting longing. Allowing discomfort. Real intimacy doesn't begin with romance. It begins with emotional exposure. And exposure feels threatening only to the parts of you that learn to survive alone. You don't need to abandon your independence. You need to soften the armor around it. Closing thought. Staying single is not a failure of love. It is often evidence of a psyche that learned to protect itself too well. But protection is not the same as fulfillment. At some point, the walls that kept you safe begin to keep you lonely. And healing begins not when you find the right person, but when you allow yourself to be reachable. Because love doesn't enter where everything is guarded. It enters where something is open. And that opening is a choice only you can make.